Well, Dennis, one of the things that I think a lot of people watching this may want to know is, and they're watching this because they have a loved one or a friend they want to help, is how do you get them to listen? How do you get anybody, how do you bring them in and say, gosh, don't you know you have a problem here? Why don't you want to do something? It's a big risk, because most times if it's not done right, people are going to tell you, you know what, I don't have a problem, or it's none of your business, and it can be really done badly. So there's this concept now, and there's even a television show about it called Intervention that talks about how to do these things right. And there is a right and a wrong way to do it. And you know a little bit about this too, because you've been a part of an intervention.
I've been a part of an intervention.
And so you know what it's like.
Right. And then I've been part of, with like Dusty early on, you know, there's the old intervention where you just go to the jail.
That's a tough intervention. That's
a tough intervention, which is, you know, makes it very clear that something's about to happen.
You were gonna bail Dusty out when he got his DWI, and he had been in there, what, about 24, 48 hours?
Well, yeah, he hadn't
there?
even been in there probably 8 or 9 hours. And I drove all the way. I won't say where he was right now, but I drove eight hours through the night. Got there, was going to bail him out. Walked in there. God said, I paid his bail. Walked outside, and God spoke to me, and spoke to me even through a friend, through a phone call, and said to me, if you love him, leave him. Well, I'm a mercy person, and it's hard for me to be tough love. And I went back in, and I said I rescinded his bail. I left him, went back outside, got in the car, drove 8 hours back home, and left him there.
How many days?
About 9 days.
9 days. That's a pretty good intervention.
That was a long time.
When you came back, was he pretty ready to listen?
He was ready to pretty much do whatever I guess I suggested.
So sometimes that's the thing to do, is to let people sit with it a little while, not rescue them right away, because there's a lot of rescuing that goes on with addicts, and sometimes that just fuels the flames of fire to rescue people. But then there's this other situation where there's someone out there and we want to call them in, and what do we do? And the right way to do that is that you want to get somebody who's a leader that's done this before. It's not their first time, so it could be a counselor or a doctor who's had some experience with it, or a minister. There's different people that have done these before, and they kind of know the drill. But that person becomes the director, almost like an orchestra. And so you get the people together that love and care about this person. You sit down, and each person takes out a tablet, and they write down the facts. Just kind of like Jack Webb used to say, just the facts, man, when you're analyzing a crime scene. Some people are too old. We're too old for some of these people watching this, but they write down what happened. Here's what I've observed. Here's what I've seen in you, and the changes I've seen in you. I love you, and it scares me. It scares me for myself and for you. And you can talk a little bit about the feelings associated with it, but never denigrate them or put them down in any way. It's done with love and respect. The leader that comes in is then going to ask that person, when they come into the room, they don't know why they're coming over to this place, and you catch them at a time of day when hopefully they're sober, before they get to hitting it. And you bring them in and you ask them to sit, and the leader will ask them, would you please just listen? Everyone's gathered here because we love you, and we want you to sit and just listen. I'm going to ask one person at a time to speak with you. We'll give you time at the end to speak and say what you need to say, but for this first part, if you'll just agree with us on this, that you'll just listen. And so then, and it's kind of pre-ordered as to who's going to speak, because you kind of save one particular one for the last for a particular reason, so the orchestrator of that can help with that. And at the end, then what you've done is you've set the stage to ask this person to do something, and it may be to begin recovery, which is a place to start if they'll agree to do that.
You can say, we want you to do that, and we want you to do such and such. Go to an AA meeting, or Celebrate Recovery
meeting.
Of course, you can balance that with, and we save that sometime for. Well, I've just been in one, but towards the end you could say, or you're not going to have this vehicle, and you're not going to have this.
Oh, you have to have a little bit of a stick.
You're not going to have this job.
You have to have a stick. Yeah.
But begin recovery sometimes is a good place to start, and they're willing, okay, I'll concede, you know.
Right. Or it may be in the case of a spouse, or you're going to have to find someplace else to stay, or I'm moving out, but I'm not staying with this.
Right.
Something's going to change today. And it's going to be you, or it's going to be these other situations surrounding you that we have some control over. And so you've got to do that. It seems a little bit, maybe mean-spirited a little bit. It's not. You've got to have that. And then you reach that point then where you may be offering Begin Recovery. In Begin Recovery, they have an accountability partner, so they can have someone who's automatically emailed every day as they go through the program and document that they've understood the material. They can document their 12-step meetings, whether it's Celebrate Recovery or AA. You could, if you wanted to, if you were really monitoring somebody, you could add drug screens in if you wanted to, or alcohol screens. So there's a number of different ways you could use the program, and let this be a place to start. And we'll start here, and if this isn't working, then we're going to get back together and take the next step. Maybe you need to go to outpatient treatment. Maybe you need to go to inpatient treatment. Or sometimes at the end of an intervention, a person just needs to go for a little evaluation somewhere. 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, just get an evaluation. And they may say, well, you could do outpatient treatment. If they do, then Begin Recovery is a perfect supplement to outpatient treatment, because outpatient programs at such a limited time, they won't get all this information that we have in this program. They just won't, I know that. So I think this is, you know, it gives you a menu of options that you can choose from. But the main thing with an intervention is just don't call somebody in and say, hey, I want to talk to you about your problem, because usually it doesn't work. You need a little team. It needs some support. You need a plan. That's right. All right, so I hope this has been helpful to you. And you can read more about intervention. You can Google it and learn a little bit more about it if you want to get some more of the fine details, but it gives you a general overview of how to go about an intervention.